Hello, everyone. This is part one of a two-part recap. So if you're looking for part two, just go back in your feed and you will find part two where I am covering some Bravo, some kind of general Bravo news, Real Housewives of Miami, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of Orange County. And on this one, for part one, I am mainly talking about Vanderpump Rules, The Valley, Summer House, and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because Sheena had to go and tell us all that Brock cheated on her while she was pregnant and then didn't tell her until after they were already married. So that obviously put a lot on my plate, and I have a lot of thoughts about it. So I hope you all enjoyed today's episode, and please come back and check out part two. Welcome to the Bravo Papers, a safe space for all us Bravo fans who love to analyze, deconstruct, and talk about our favorite Bravo shows ad nauseum. So join me, Bravo and Botox, and we'll catch up on all the Bravo news and read way too much into our favorite shows and Bravo celebrities. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bravo Papers, Bravo Weekly News, here with your host, Emily. And boy, do we have some news this week because my God, Sheena is just spilling all sorts of stuff. And I'm sure those of you that are Vanderpump Rules Valley fans already know what I'm talking about. But we're going to get into that in just a moment. Just a quick thing. I just want to say that it is summer and I am on a summer kind of schedule. So just to be honest with you, during the year, the weekend is kind of when I'm more I have not like I try not to book a lot of plans on the weekends. I like to have my weekends to myself. I think that's one of those things when you get older, not saying I do nothing, but weekends are sacred. When you work Monday to Friday, weekends are just they're sacred. So, that is usually when I record, but now during the summer, it's like everyone's doing everything, like everyone that I'm related to on both sides seems to have been born in the summer. So there's just like all these birthdays, all these like, let's go to the cottage, let's do this, let's go swimming. Like there's just so much and it's all on the weekend. So I'm having to record this a bit later, like Monday, like kind of work on it Monday or Tuesday or even Wednesday, as you're hearing right now, depending on kind of was it a long weekend? Where was I? All that kind of stuff. So that's why I have another episode coming to you on a Wednesday. And for just the summer, you know, I'll get you'll still get the weekly news every week, but it'll be kind of like I'm going to say more realistically, it'll be like a Tuesday or Wednesday. It just depends because, we go to like my husband's parents' cottage quite a bit during the summer and they don't have any Wi-Fi. So it's it's very difficult. I know it sounds so this is like the most privileged issue ever, but they don't have any Wi-Fi. So like it's difficult for me to do anything. Like I really can't work on anything. And I'm finding I'm getting behind in Twitter roundups because of it. Like it's just privilege, first world problems happening over here, but those are just the facts of the matter. So, yeah, so news episodes still coming. Things are just a little later, so my apologies for that over the summer. But, coming September things will get back to normal again. Less plans as they say. Even in August I have less play. July is just packed. Like, it's like everyone got married, had a baby, or did something in July. It's like there are so many occasions. I think I haven't had one weekend in July where it hasn't been like a big thing that I had to go to. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about Sheena which I'm sure she just loves because despite all this is so hard and everyone's got judgments, Sheena loves being the center of attention. Like, I just don't believe that I think she doesn't like when people don't like her. That is clear. Like, Sheena wants to be liked, but Sheena also likes attention, no matter what kind, more than anything else. Like, I think she prefers to be disliked than to be ignored. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think she'd rather have bad attention over no attention. Of course, her ideal scenario would be good attention, right? But, that has been few and far between over the years since she's been on reality TV. But as many of you probably already know, and this is obviously the big story of the week, is that Sheena Shea did this story with Glamour, and she shared an excerpt from her upcoming book, My Good Side, and shared this excerpt exclusively with Glamour. This came out on July 10th and basically talks about Brock having an affair while she was pregnant with Summer back in 2020. Okay. So I'm going to read you a little bit from the article and then a little bit from the excerpt of the book, and then we'll talk about it. So basically, she says that during like the whole scandal of all time, there was a time when there were blind items about Brock and Raquel having an affair surfacing, which I think a lot of us who are, deep in the scandal of it all remember that. And she says prior to Tom and Raquel's indiscretions, Brock had been supportive of Raquel when she split from James. Even though I knew in my heart that the gossip concerning Brock and Raquel was ridiculously fake, we had to deal with it anyways. There was the smallest section of my brain that kept thinking, if Tom and Raquel pulled the wool over everyone's eyes for 7 months, could Brock and Raquel have done the same thing? When such a monumental lie is exposed so close to you, it brings a lot into question. That wasn't the only blind item about Brock and another woman to emerge during this time. There was also one about him dating a woman in San Diego around the same time we met, which claimed that Brock would spend Saturdays with her before coming up to see me on Sundays for Chargers games. It also alleged that she had helped him pack for the Australia trip where we made our relationship official, prompting her to cut ties with him. I certainly didn't trust Raquel as far as I could throw her, so when Brock dismissed the accusations and denied that some woman helped him pack, I believed him. Okay. So those are some excerpts from the Glamour. And then this is an excerpt from the actual book of her kind of describing, um, you know, how angry she was when she found out and everything that happened. So she says, there was this deep fury bubbling inside of me, and I couldn't release it. If I screamed, I could wake up my daughter, our daughter, his baby, whom I'd been carrying while he was in bed with another woman. I stood up and started pacing back and forth, fuming and feeling like I might throw up. Then, unable to contain my rage, I slapped him and threw a Rubik's Cube in his direction, which he dodged. To this day, every time I see a Rubik's Cube, it triggers me, pulling me right back to this incredibly dark moment in my life. Same goes for any mention of an F-45 gym. Brock didn't know what to say. What could he say? He'd done what he'd done, and it wasn't going to go away or be swept under the rug. Still, I wanted details. I had to know who the woman was, why he'd so blatantly betrayed me, particularly during such a vulnerable period of my life. He said that the woman was someone who he had known since before we met. One day while I was at home pregnant with his child, Brock went to work at his gym F45 training East Hillcrest in San Diego, and he ran into her outside. After reconnecting, he said they began a brief affair. I was a little confused because I had always had his location and could have checked in at any time. How had I not caught them? Of course, Sheena's got everyone's location. That was my first thought when I saw this story was, well, you didn't have your husband's location, but I guess you can have someone's location and they can still cheat, right? They can just cheat where they are. um, I was a little confused. Okay, sorry, but he also had a second phone for work. Okay, there you go. Which I did not know about. I did know about, but didn't monitor. I mean, listen, it doesn't matter. You can monitor everything till the cows come home. Number one, you shouldn't have to live like that where you're monitoring everything. And if you are monitoring everything and sending someone's location all the time, etc., the relationship is not good. There's no trust. The relationship is bad. Maybe it's time to get out of it. Like, I'm not against certain things. Like, sometimes I ask my husband to share his little like driving locator because if he's driving with my daughter, for example, because I get worried if something will happen, or I'm worried about him driving when he's tired, even if he's alone. So like sometimes I'll do that, though that maybe happens like once or twice, like a year, I would say, like that, infrequently. But like I don't have like I think it's the new I don't know if it's the younger generation. Like although Sheena is part of, like, Sheena's a millennial, but like we just none of my friends do this. Like, no one I know does the location sharing except for with their kids. Like, my friends who have like teenager kids do this, but besides that, no one, like none of my like friends who are like in their late 30s, early 40s, like none of us do. This was never a thing when I was in my 20s, because they didn't have it. But then even once it began, like it just wasn't a thing. But I have heard that more people, like maybe more Gen Z people do it. So I don't know. Anyways, then she says, it turned out that was their sole form of communication. Nice, right? So the work phone, I guess. What does he need a work phone for? Like, he doesn't do anything. Like, do you work? Like, what is your job? Like, I don't, okay, whatever. Okay, the same night, like, why can't you use the same fucking phone? That same night, Brock gave me a letter that he'd written a year after the affair ended. Why then, I wondered. Apparently, he had compartmentalized his indiscretion. Convenient, I know. But while we were out at a local festival in San Diego one night, he ran into some old friends who reminded him of that time in his life, and everything that he'd done came rushing back. He said he realized he was throwing his second chance at a family away by stepping out and swore to himself that he would never betray me again. Okay. Whew, that's a lot. I mean, this is like, it's not just the affair, it's doing it while she's pregnant. It's not telling her until after they were married. To me, that is the most fucked up part. Like, it's like he wanted a green card, he wanted to get in. Like, I think this was purposeful. Like, even if he's sincere in his like, "I'll never do it again. I'm so sorry. I regret it," etc. Even if all of that is sincere, it's like it doesn't matter because she'll legitimately never know if it's sincere because of the timing. Like, if he had legit told her prior to them getting married, that would actually, like, give him a little bit of credibility in terms of, like, trying to come clean, make things right. You know, there's people who, like, I've heard of that before, like, people who, like, have, confessed to an indiscretion prior to getting engaged or married, like, "Oh, clean slate," kinda thinking. Like, I'm not saying that's, like, necessarily a good idea, I'm just saying people do it, but, I do think that this is very suspect. So at, Kokomoka Kokamakoka, sorry, on Instagram. She's a very big Vanderpump Rules Valley fan, and she did a little timeline of the affair, okay? Because it is actually insane. So credit to her, thank you. So basically, 2019, Sheena and Brock begin dating. 2020, they move in together. June 2020, Sheena suffers a miscarriage. October 2020, Sheena announces pregnancy with Summer Moon. End of 2020, Brock has an affair. Okay, so, you know, kind of right around the time where she announced the pregnancy, it seems like this man has something when it comes to having kids. Like, he starts to cheat, like, right around, like, the miscarriage slash pregnancy time. Like, it's almost like he has, like, a phobia or is, like, running from the responsibility of children. Like, I wonder if he has, like, a thing where his perception is, like, once you have kids, you're, like, really locked down. Like, I wonder if there's, and I'm not making any excuses, by the way, we're just talking about reasons for behavior. These do not excuse behavior, but bad behavior specifically. But, I wonder if there's a sort of like commitment phobic, fuck boy in there who's like, whenever it gets like a little too real, as in I'm pregnant, he runs away. Cause look at his pattern with his ex. Like, not only did he run away, he ran to a different continent. And that's pretty crazy. So I don't know. Like, that's what it seems like to me. So, and that is not to be trusted. I don't know what else to say. So April 2021, Summer Moon is born. August 2021, Sheena and Brock secretly get married. So Brock gets his green card. Exactly. Exactly. So convenient. Then they actually have their like TV wedding in Mexico. That's August 2022. March 2023, Scandival breaks. April 2023, Brock tells Sheena that he cheated on her in 2020. So, like, again, it's, he waits until after the official wedding, and he also waits until after the TV wedding. He waits until both of these things before he confesses, which is very convenient. Okay. And then we have like June 2023 to May 2024. We have the whole like season 11 of Vanderpump airing. Sheena wrecks her friendship with Ariana, trying to help redeem Tom Sandoval. Um, and then this becomes like the end of Vanderpump Rules because Sheena and Lala are idiots. And then November 2024, entire VPR cast gets cut, and Bravo announces a reboot. And then now, January 2025, she'll be releasing a memoir. April, The Valley airs, and now July, she reveals she had the affair to promote the book. So it's all very, it's all just very convenient. Like, do I think there is this whole thing with people kind of saying this is made up for attention to help her sell copies of her book? I don't think so at all. Okay. There is more than enough receipts and evidence of, the bar, not the bar, the gym being open. Cause that was another thing that people were questioning, like, oh, Sheena's lying. There were no gyms open in 2020. But again, Coca did do a fact check on that, and there's plenty of online video evidence and Google evidence, etc., that this gym was in fact open exactly when Sheena says all this happened. There's like pictures, videos of Brock there, like the list with other people, the list goes on and on. Okay. So if you fact check it, it is super easy to fact check. I don't think that Sheena's making this up. I really, really don't. So I'm not even going to entertain that. Do I think she is now using it to make money? Yes. Is she making it up? No. But is she using it to sell her book? Yes. But two things can be true. This could be a devastating, terrible experience for her. This could be something that, you know, she doesn't, she doesn't really want to tell people, but it can also be something that she is choosing to tell people because she wants to sell more books and make money, which makes sense because she's not on the show anymore. Like, she's not making that steady income that she had for 11 years on Vanderpump Rules. And, she just bought a house in the valley, and like over $3 million house and all this stuff. Like, I'm not saying Sheena's not making money in other ways, because she does. Like, these people, like, as much as like we can't really see how they make money, they do. They do, you know, Instagram supported, sponsored posts. They have their podcast. Like, they have, they do little things whenever they can, appearances, etc. Local appearances where they probably get paid a fee. Like, they do stuff like that that trickles in income from all these different places. But at the end of the day, something like this, as a public figure, is going to make you a lot more money. So yes, I do think she's using it to sell books. I do think she's using it to make money. Absolutely. But again, like, I can't be that mad at her about that because she's a reality star. The way that she has made money for over a decade has been from sharing all of her secret stuff from her life. So, like, I'm not gonna like be like, oh my God, Shayna, la la la. What I am mad at, though, because this is not like a Sheena Shea apologist tour, trust me. I've never been a big Sheena fan since season 1. I haven't liked Sheena, to be honest. But what is bothering me was her and Lala and the whole season 11 of it all, when they're demanding transparency and they're demanding that, Ariana film with Tom, etc., because, you know, and Lala with her, you're taking food out of my daughter's mouth and of all this bullshit. When meanwhile, there was a real, actual, authentic, and huge storyline that Sheena was sitting there hiding. And Sheena was Lala's little fucking sidekick lackey. And she was also pissed off and being all like, jealous because Ariana was getting so much attention, etc. So it's like, okay, you could have shared this. if this happened, you could have shared it. Now, granted, I understand probably her thinking to a degree because she was probably like, well, if I share it, people say I'm taking attention away from Ariana. So, I also kind of think like Sheena would want the spotlight to be on her only. Like she wouldn't want to have to share it. And I think she knew she couldn't like override Scandival at that time. But again, that's your own fucked up problem. That's your own, you know, like thinking about stardom and thinking about the public instead of just being on a reality show and sharing your reality, which is what you should just do because people are going to criticize it no matter what. You are here sharing it now in July 2025, and people have just as much to say. You maybe could have saved, I'm sorry to say this, but like Sheena maybe could have saved Vanderpump Rules or given us another season or something if instead of her and Lala focusing on basically taking down Ariana and blaming her for everything, they shared their authenticity, which they didn't. Right. And it just drives me so crazy that they were going after her all season because of that. When meanwhile, Sheena had this in her back pocket the whole time. Like literally so annoying. Okay. And talking about Sheena making money off this, she also did a cover story with Us Weekly, which of course she got paid for, called How My Marriage Survived Cheating. So I'm going to go into some of the takeaways from that. So Sheena tells Us Weekly, it really felt like I got my karma. Did I deserve for Brock to cheat on me? No, but I told myself that I did. Okay. So, and again, this is the whole like, it just kind of feels like she's turning this into like this like victimhood. It's like she knows that people are going to say that, so she's taking it and being like, "No, I don't deserve to be cheated on even though I was the other woman or whatever." Like it's kind of like she's kind of getting ahead of it and then using it to victimize herself. It's very annoying. Um, so this is what she said. So they ask her, Us Weekly asks her, when Bravo fans met you, you were the girl who'd had an affair with Eddie Cibrian during his marriage to Brandy. She says, I've worn the scarlet letter for so long. I'm this home wrecking whore every day in the comments. And then she says, he's the one who lied, cheated, home wrecker. I don't want to say I was innocent, but I was lied to by a 33-year-old man when I was 21. I feel like people tend to forget. They see 27-year-old Sheena on season 1 of Vanderpump Rules, and it's as if Eddie's situation happened the year before. This happened in 2006. We weren't on air until 2013. Looking back, were there red flags? Absolutely. I was leading with my heart and not my brain. You know, I actually think that is not a bad like reasoning. The only thing though that makes it not good is that you're still not like I just think that she needs to own up to the I knew he was married. Like if she was like I was a 21-year-old fucking idiot who legit thought that this man would leave his wife for me. I didn't have any sense of like the seriousness and the gravity of like breaking up a marriage with kids the same way that I do now as like an older adult who's like, frontal lobe is fully developed, all that kind of stuff. Like she could be just more authentic and just be like, I was a selfish loser. Like a lot of other girls and boys are when they're early 20s, where I was just thinking about myself getting famous. I was like all like swept away by all his comments and compliments, and like I fell for it. I was a moron. I knew he was married, but like he told me she was a bitch and this that the and I was like one of those girls. Like just fully own it. Because when you start to be like doing the whole like, well, I didn't know he was married, it's like really hard for people to swallow that, especially like a public figure like him. It's just it just doesn't it's hard for people to kind of understand that, especially because Sheena has been so braggy about celebrities that she slept with. Like the amount of times she mentions that she hooked up with John Mayer, it's like, okay. It's like, I just don't believe that you're the type that doesn't know everything about every celebrity. Like, I just don't believe you're not the type who was buying all the gossip magazines like before they were all online. I just think she was. So it's very hard to believe. Do you have any regrets? She says she regrets opening up to the media about Eddie. She wasn't thinking about his wife and toddlers at home. Right, exactly. Just be like, I was an idiot. Like, own this. People like to say that I make everything about me. This was an instance where I was only thinking about myself in that situation. That was not okay. It was immature and extremely irresponsible. Yeah. I'm sorry to Brandy for her having to find out about me the way she did. She didn't deserve that. And lo and behold, look what my husband did to me. So, yeah, like exactly. You went on like a press tour to talk. Like Sheena was just in this phase where her only priority in life was to get famous. I think she didn't give a fuck how she went about it, whether it was having sex with a married guy who was a celebrity, which is like a big part of it, or then selling that story to like ET or going because she just wanted to be on TV. Like this is just admit you were thirsty and desperate for fame. And, to be honest, it worked. Quite frankly, we wouldn't be here right now. If she hadn't done that, I don't think we would even have had Vanderpump Rules. So listen, everything works out the way it's supposed to, okay? We only had to sacrifice a marriage and children, okay? That's all that we had to sacrifice. No, I'm joking obviously cuz listen, the real losers in this situation were Brandy's children. Which, you know what? Here's the other thing though. I think they would have lost anyways, because I think this guy was gonna cheat on Brandy. Whether it was with Sheena, it would have been with Leanne Rhymes or 55 other people. So it's not like, like I wouldn't say like Sheena broke up a marriage. This guy was cheating with Sheena and others, and clearly he wanted out and he's just a serial cheater. Okay, in the book, you reveal Lisa Vanderpump knew about your affair with Eddie, but pretended not to when she brought you and Brandy together on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So Sheena says she low-key used my real life pain to launch her TV empire, and what an empire she has. She gaslit me about it for a decade instead of just coming to me in the beginning. That's the thing with Lisa. She doesn't make mistakes. She makes moves and then calls them consequences. Okay, that is true about Lisa Vanderpump. However, there's a big however here. You also used your real life pain to get famous. Like this was you can't pretend this wasn't like a mutual this wasn't mutually beneficial for the two of you. Like Lisa, maybe she did know about the Eddie thing and she lied to. I could totally see Lisa Vanderpump doing that. But don't pretend that you weren't all like gung ho to be on Beverly Hills, to be in the background, to be on Vanderpump Rules, this show that was a spin-off of Beverly Hills with like the most famous, like your friendship relationship with Lisa, you were never friends with her like just because she was your boss and you admired her. It was because you were reaching to go places because there's thousands of other people that have worked for Lisa Vanderpump that were not in your situation. Right? Like, it's just again, it's like this lack of, like, accountability for what you so desperately wanted to be famous that you slept with a married guy and were fine with him leaving his wife and children. So, how am I gonna, like, have sympathy for you when you say Lisa Vanderpump used you to launch her spinoff? You were right there happy to help with the launch. I'm sorry. You were fine with this. I don't believe this bullshit here. Like, I'm not eating this that you're feeding me. Okay. The cast has been vocal about the show not being scripted, but you write about another moment in season 9 that was orchestrated, a confrontation with Lala about you and Brock getting engaged. Sheena says they absolutely scripted that finale. Lala and I pulled Ariana and Katie aside and we said, okay, we're going to show up and do our job, but we're not going to tell production that we're going to fake a fight. Production won't know we did that until this comes out. That was a one off and the only time we fake something. It was desperation over wanting to save our jobs and get another season. Yeah, okay. We know. We didn't know. I didn't know that was like a fake argument. I really thought that, you know, Lala was maybe not happy with the engagement or whatever, or that they were upset that they did it the same weekend as Brock and Raquel. Fine, because that season was like boring as fuck. But all that being said, we know you orchestrate things. We know you and Lala are capable of this because we watched it on season 11 and you ruined the show. So, you just kind of proved it even more. They say you were pregnant with Brock when he had an affair with the woman at his gym. tell us about that. Okay, so she says they did therapy and blah blah blah. Um, then they talk about, where was I? Oh yeah, did she hesitate in putting it in the book? She said both of them were hesitant about it, but she said she'd rather it come out in her words and not someone else's, and says, unfortunately, there's another person in the situation, and at any point in time, she could have come forward. I mean, I don't think you put it out because you're worried about her speaking about it, because clearly, you know, you're putting it in a book. Like, I think you're coming out with it because you have a book to sell. Like, let's just, okay. Um, okay, she talks about how she slapped him. She said if they hadn't had Summer, she 100% would have walked away. Um, and that she would have left, etc. She says her ex-husband, Mike Shea, had an emotional affair, which can be worse than physical, but this was new territory because she had a kid. She says it takes work every day. She will always have insecurities. Just the other day, she saw him swipe and delete a text, and she's like, "What was that?" And he was like, "Seriously, Sheena, but I genuinely believe he would never do anything like that again. I trust him. I've forgiven him. We've put the work in couples therapy. We have very open line of communication. And I want to show people that if you truly love something, a mistake from their past doesn't have to define the future of your relationship." Unfortunately, it wasn't really a mistake from his past. It's from the one thing, well, it is, but it's also like your past, you know what I mean? Because you were together. So I think that's what makes it harder. It's like, this wasn't something from like before you knew him. So I don't know. It's a tough situation. Then she says, after Tom cheated on Ariana, you continued to film with him, even though you and Ariana had been close for years, but nobody knew that you learned about Brock's affair at the same time. She says, I don't think I gave Ariana as much grace as I should have in those moments, just because I was willing to forgive Brock and essentially forgive Sandoval. She wasn't ready for any of that. I also wasn't ready to tell that story. I don't think our marriage would have survived if I did. I wasn't even protecting Brock in those moments. I was protecting Summer. Well, yeah, that was the other thing, is I was thinking is maybe that's why she had so much resentment, etc. Besides the fact that she was jealous, because I'm sorry, she was jealous of Love Island hosting, of Dancing with the Stars, of everything. But I do think that another part of it was that, you know, she was like, well, I have a fucking kid with this guy and I'm working on forgiving him and it's hard. Like, why can't you move past it quicker? But that's just not a fair way to look at it, because it's not the same situation. Like, yes, you both got cheated on, but hers is public. So that's one thing. Yours is public, not public, because you've chosen not to tell anyone. Number two, you've chosen to stay. So you have to work through those feelings and reconcile them and still see the person. You have a child with him. Like, it's just not, if you didn't have to, if you and Brock weren't married and you didn't have a kid, like, you would probably just focus on, I'm heartbroken and now I have to get over being heartbroken and separating our lives, right? Because it's not just being cheated on, it's reconciling the fact that you've broken up, right? And that your life is not going to be what you thought it was going to be, right? Whereas for Sheena, it's the hurt of being cheated on and trying to forgive and trust a person again. So they are two different things. Whereas Ariana is being cheated on, also a breakup of a 9-year relationship, and her life and future looking different. She thought she was be with him forever, so her life and future looking differently than what she thought it would. So they are two. No, one's necessarily not harder than the other. I'm not saying that. I don't think it's like a competition or anything like that. But it's just not the same. It's not like apples to apples. It's just a different situation. And just as Sheena says, like, she was protecting Summer. Like, Ariana didn't have to protect anyone. She could just go full throttle and crucify him. And, I'm sure there was some jealousy about that too. Because if I was Sheena, I'd be like, God, I wish I could just friggin', again, like, just go at him and express all my anger and frustration like she is and get all the support, and I can't. So, I think that's kind of it. Um, Sheena also says, they say, what would you do differently now? And Sheena says, I wish I supported Ariana more in the way that she needed. I feel like I was put in a position where I had a job to do. I was going through my own personal heartbreak and I wasn't the friend that she needed throughout season 11. I genuinely regret that because she deserved more from me. I hope that one day privately we can sit on my couch and have that conversation I wanted to have with her, sorry, 2 years ago. I miss her. She was my best friend, and I am just over the moon seeing how incredible she's doing. So, this is also a like repair my reputation piece. This isn't just about like Sheena making money for her book. Sheena knows that she still has the stain on her from season 11, when it comes to the way that her and Lala treated Ariana. So I think this is also like well, this is why, because I was going through a hard time, so I wasn't myself, etc. But like, here's the thing. If anything, this makes me think that you should have been even more supportive of her because you were hiding shit. And like, I'm not saying you didn't have reasons to hide it, but you were like hiding things and demanding transparency and that she films and does certain things. Like, were you ready to film a scene with Brock's mistress? No. Were you ready to even talk about this on camera? No. Everyone goes at their own pace. Like, that's what's frustrating me is like, she's using this as excuses for behavior, but it can also make said behaviors look even worse in retrospect. So I don't know if this is doing what she thinks it's doing, but okay. I gotta say, the cover photo for this is crazy. Like, listen, Sheena's wearing this like collared shirt. It's like she's trying to, you know what she looks like? She looks like a, what do I say? Like a valley girl that's like going to court today, like she's wearing this collared shirt and she's got her hair in this kind of like messy updo with like it kind of looks like the hair a lot of girls do when they're a bridesmaid. It's like a nice kind of updo with like some strands at the front, maybe not as neat as you would for like a wedding, a little bit more like but like purposefully messy, not like I rolled out of bed. And then she's like wearing this like collared shirt. She looks all like serious, she's like staring into the camera. Like it's so not Sheena at all. Like it's like they took Sheena and put her in someone else's clothes. It's just it makes no sense. But okay. I just can't. Okay. It's like it shouldn't be funny, but it is funny. I'm going to put it on the cover of this podcast episode because I'm dying. Okay, so I can't with this picture. I need you guys to go look at it. Okay, we have other Valley news though. Even though that was Vanderpump Rules news, I'm just kind of putting them together. So Andy, where is he? Oh, yes, Andy is what I meant to say, had Jesse on Watch What Happens Live. And he asked Jesse how he feels about, guess who we're going to talk about again, guys? Sheena. Sheena is like, we should just let her be on the Valley because I feel like at this point, she is she is salivating at the mouth for attention. It's like I'm almost at the point of just like Sheena will never let us not talk about Sheena. Sheena is going to find a way to make everything about Sheena. She's going to make everyone talk about her. Like her name will be in my mouth probably for as long as I have this podcast and am talking about Bravo. And we might as well, guys, let's just like, she's so scrappy in her efforts. She just never gives up. Okay. She's just kind of like that person who comes and tries out for like the team and, it's just a recreational team, maybe, but she's not really that good. But she comes every summer and tries out, and we're all just kind of like feel bad. So it's like, all right, just like let her be on the fucking team. Like that's how I'm starting to feel about it. Now, that being said, I don't want to reward bad behavior, but it's reality TV. So that it's all about rewarding bad behavior. So it's kind of like, should we just let her on at this point? Like, I'm getting tired. I might just be like, whatever at this point. She's going to be there anyways, right? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I don't really care if they let her on the show, I'm not going to have a big emotional reaction. I think I lean towards not wanting her on the show, but she's pretty much on the show. And if she's not, her name is in people's mouths. So I'm like, what's the difference? And I'm enjoying this season. So, besides Jax, obviously. Okay, so then Andy asked Jesse how he feels about Sheena saying he's worse than Jax because that made see again that made headlines. Sheena knows what to say. Jesse says he thinks that Sheena is weaponizing his daughter losing her grandmother, and also he thinks it's deplorable how she's going about trying to get on the show. Ooh, shots fired. Yeah, she kind of is weaponizing it if you think about it, because she's like trying to get people, to listen to her interview on her podcast, and that was where she was talking about it. Certainly got her clicks and lots of attention because it is something to say that people are going to get mad about. Like it's like, like I've said this as an analogy before. It's like comparing like a criminal, like a low level criminal to like a serial killer. Like it's not, and people are so disgusted by Jax. You're going to trigger people when you say that. And that the comparison game is also just stupid. Like everyone has their own problems, everyone has their own shit. There's no point in doing the like, you know, trauma shit Olympics, right? And if you are going to do the worst person in the world Olympics, like Jax is going to get the gold and that's it. Okay. It's not even a contest. So, I mean, like, look at him on this week's episode. Okay. So, asked about, so I do think that Jesse kind of, she's just they're trying to make Jesse look really bad. And in doing so, they're making themselves look bad. Just let Jesse do that on his own. Okay. And if he's looking good for a period of time or people are liking him, it won't last because that's how we are as Bravo fans. So just be patient. He'll get his day, and that's it. Okay, so when asked about his feelings about Janet using the term sexual assault to describe Danny, said Danny's a good father and husband, and basically nobody needs to comment on the situation except those involved. Right. I think Jesse's been reading the comment section, but I also think he's correct because that's, Jasmine and Melissa don't want to talk about this anymore. They don't want to rehash it. They've decided to forgive Danny and still be friends with him and move forward. So that's it. And it's over. Janet. Okay. Jesse says Michelle in reference to Michelle, kind of, trying to tell everyone all the bad stuff about him. He says that Michelle is doing a lot to make him the bad guy, but she needs to just be more free and fun. Um Listen, I think Jesse really studies the audience. Like when Michelle said he's got like a binder and stuff, yeah, I think he probably does. And I think he does his homework. And I think he's an intelligent person. And I think he knows that, like, if you are just on the show and you are just miserable all the time and just keep complaining about the same thing over and over, I think he knows that the audience doesn't like that. So I think that's why he's number one saying this. It's actually good advice, whether it's because he studied the comments and the tweets and has his binder, or whether this is what he authentically thinks. It doesn't even matter. He's right. Like Michelle needs to just breathe because it is like every time she opens her mouth, it's about Jesse. And that can get tiresome. Now, he's spoken about her a lot on the show. But he's also kind of done other stuff and you know, he's had some more fun moments, right? Like even like there was a tweet going around that everybody was loving of him like trying to dance like the fire dancer in Hawaii while he was drunk. Like, you just, kind of try to chill. I think Michelle needs to chill a bit. And again, I think it's the same thing with Sheena. It's like the more you try to make someone the bad guy, the more you look like the bad guy. Right? Like I can't believe Sheena didn't learn this from season 11 of Vanderpump Rules. The more Lala and her tried to make Ariana the bad one in the group who's like not being authentic, the more they looked fake. So even if, and they were wrong about it, but even if they were right about Ariana, it would go against their case. And the same thing is happening here. Even if they're all 100% right about Jesse, it doesn't matter because no one, you guys are just making yourselves look bad. That's just how it goes. Um, Jesse says, oh, sorry. He also says he was shocked by Britt telling Jax, especially since Kristen's ex is in the boys' chat. Ooh, yeah, that's not good. But again, I'm not even, I'm mad at Jax about literally everything that he's ever done or said since he's been on my television. And I think he's the worst person and that he shouldn't be on the show. Okay. However, this is the one thing that I actually blame Brittany for over Jax. Like everything when it comes to the two of them, I blame Jax. Like I think he's an abusive narcissist monster, and the way he speaks to her and all that is disgusting, and I think he's doesn't have like real, like I think he uses his son to get sympathy. Like everything he does is terrible. But this is the one, but again, like they say about the broken clock, you know, this is the one thing that he's not right about. He's still wrong to like text a group chat of like 50 people because he's a fucking moron. But really, this is Brittany's fault. She shouldn't have told Jax in the first place. Why did you tell him? I'm not going to get into that right now. Okay. Because I'm going to be talking about it on the after show and all that stuff. Okay. But it's just very annoying. Meanwhile, speaking of Ariana again, her brother, Jeremy Maddox, alleges that the whole Jason taking his ring off thing is true. He's seen it before. He said he saw it when he was talking to a girl at a bar and says the cheating rumors about Jason are true. Do I put a lot of stock into Jeremy Maddox's opinion? No, because he's kind of sucks and he's trash. But, just telling you guys, just so you know, in case you were wondering what Ariana's brother's opinion is of one of the Valley storylines. I'm sure you're all riveted. Okay. I should have just deleted that one from the folder, but I didn't. Okay. That was a lot of Valley news. We need something lighter. Okay, let's go to something a little less serious here. Um Summer House. Let's talk about Summer House for a sec. So, Paige DeSorbo is allegedly seen holding hands. Well, I mean, okay, it says allegedly, but it's definitely her. Holding hands with boyfriend Joe D'Amelio in Italy. So Dumois has confirmed that it is in fact Paige, that pictures were taken of her walking with this guy, Joe D'Amelio. And, you can see her dress at the back. It's a very distinct dress. It's like black with like white lining. And then there's a picture of her that she posted from her hotel in Italy. Same dress, same hair, same shoes, all that jazz. There's been kind of talk about this because people were like, oh, see, she was never that serious with that guy. Everyone was trying to make her the bad guy and da da da. And she's not even dating him anymore and da da da. And she keeps saying she's single. And, she's kind of riding on this whole like single girl power thing. And, again, like other things, like, I don't care. She's single. I mean, she's not with Craig and has been broken up with him since the winter. Like, she has every right to be dating this guy. Do I think, though, like, there's nothing wrong with her dating this guy? Like, nothing. Do I think, though, that she's purposefully, you know, misleading people about how single she is and how serious this is? She has said, like, no, I am technically single. I am like kind of dating, but like I'm not with anyone particular. That's where I think the lie is. Like, do I think that these two are like engaged or something like that? No, but I think they are dating. I think they are dating each other, probably exclusively. That's just my assumption. Again, I'm just guessing. I could be wrong. Maybe it's not exclusive. Maybe she's seeing 10 other people and so is he. I don't know. But, Paige generally has been like kind of an exclusive. She's been like a boyfriend kind of girl. Like for the most part, she kind of has serious relationships. We've never seen her do the sort of like dating around, I guess, with Carl for like a hot minute. But as soon as he wasn't like fully dedicated and wasn't like, putting in the effort and calling her during the week and all, she was out. So, I think she is the, that type, which is fine. But I think it is a little misleading to be saying you're quote unquote single. I don't think she's single. I think this is her second trip with this guy. I think they're dating and she is seeing him. I'm just saying. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, why can't you just say that? Now, I know why she can't just say that because she thinks that if she says that, it kind of goes against like kind of the whole like persona she's doing right now of like, I want to just like be single and focus on my career, and I'm like strong single girl and I hate men, and like, and she knows it kind of goes against that for her to already be in another relationship. Plus she was pictured with this guy like right after her and Craig broke up. Plus, add to the other layer to add even more, this guy's ex fiance said there was overlap, or she was texting with him while her and Joe were still together. So she knows that this doesn't look great and that she is going to have backlash from at least some of the fandom. Obviously she's got her like giggly supporters who will do mental gymnastics to demand justify everything she does. So she'll always have some people, but she knows that some people she's going to get some criticism. So I think she wants to, if she does announce this relationship, she wants to wait as long as possible because it just looks better, right? And she probably wants to make sure it's real and maybe it's going to last before she even bothers, because maybe if it's not, she'll just never talk about it. So that's another way to do things. Okay. So that is it for Summer House. We also have what was the other thing? Oh yeah, some RHOBH news, because Erica Jane apparently has a new man. Okay. He's reminiscent of Tom Girardi in that he's an old white guy. He's got, well, no, he's bald too. He's got like more hair, I think, on the sides, but he also has like a beard, so that is almost making him look like he has more hair. It's hard to see in this picture. He's wearing a t-shirt that says, instead of Stranger Things, like it's the same logo as Stranger Things, but it says Slaughter Things. So if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know. What kind of a shirt is that? Okay. Now he is a ex-army special ops. Okay. Apparently his nickname is Shrek. His name is John Shrek McGee. And yeah, they're seen holding hands. And he looks like an ex-army special ops. Like if you gave me a piece of paper and said draw an ex-special army ops boyfriend for Erica, like this is exactly who I would draw. He looks like he's seen some shit and done some shit, including slaughtering something. I don't know what, but he's yeah, okay. See, and this is the kind of guy that I think Erica likes. Like, this is why it was always so annoying when she was trying to pretend she was like into like Garcelle's son and like things. I'm like, you're not into him. You're not into these like younger guys. Like, she was trying to make it, oh, I like these younger guys. You're not into younger guys. Hey, you're into old white guys. That's what you're into. I'm sorry. And ones who have questionable histories. Okay. That's what you're into. She's like into like old men who were like bad boys when they were young. And now they're just old kind of bad boys, because he kind of looks like a bad boy. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's like the nicest guy ever. And Shrek is, I don't know. Maybe he's named after like when Shrek becomes nice, like at the end of the movie. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Denise Richards, her show is not returning. Okay, she says never say never to an RHOBH cameo, but the show Denise Richards and Her Wild Things has been canceled. So it's not coming despite divorce drama. It was a good show, I have to say. I enjoyed it. However, I don't think enough people were watching it, and I do think that that's like her getting divorced from Aaron. That's not the kind of show she's like trying to have. I think she was trying to have like a fun, light family show, and that's no longer possible. So I don't know if it was just low ratings or those things combined. I'm not sure. But I could see her like once she's further into the divorce and gets things figured out, I could see her being like a friend of on Beverly Hills so that she doesn't have to share too much. Because I think Denise is safe about what she shares to a point. But I do think she would share some of it, like the stuff that she wants to share. Meanwhile, It is rumored that Amanda Francis, who is the woman who purchased Kyle Richards' previous house, is joining the cast for season 15. She actually went viral on TikTok because she was posting about renovating the home that she bought from Kyle. And there's like these videos of her and her kids and husband, and they all have hammers and they're like smashing everything. So they're like smashing the shelves and, the counter, like doing that, like the tear down kind of stage of the renovation. And they filmed it all. And of course, people are like, oh my God, it's Kyle's house. And then they were even chopping into the black and white checkered tiles floors that Kyle so famously stole from Kathy Hilton. So I think that was cathartic for a lot of people, myself included. I actually like those checkered floors, but it's clear that Kyle didn't come up with that. Like, Kyle saw it in Kathy's house and was like, "Kathy has it, I have to have it." Like, it's very Kyle Richards. Okay, I am gonna end off here, and please wait because your feed is going to be updated soon with part 2, where I will cover the rest of the news, which covers quite a few shows for today's episode. So stay tuned for that, everyone. Thank you for joining me for part 1, and you are now in the know for everything Bravo. Thanks for listening, everyone. Your support really means everything to me, and this show wouldn't be possible without you, the listeners. So please, if you enjoy the podcast, leave a 5-star rating and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. For more, you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/Bravo and And for $5 a month, you'll get 4 extra podcast episodes a month. You'll also get early releases of Bravo Paper episodes and more. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Bravo Papers and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at Bravo and Botox, and at The Bravo Papers. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can at buymeacoffee.com/Bravo and Botox. Send your love through some much needed caffeine. And any guest that was on today's episode will be in the show notes, all their social media and contact information. So thank you so much, everyone. Keep overanalyzing Bravo.